Welcome to a new episode of Surdy's Lot, and today I'm not reviewing one book. I'm not reviewing two books. I'm not reviewing three books. So very surprisingly, I'm not even reviewing 5 books. I'm reviewing Who Was books. And that is what I'm going to be talking about today. I think we should start off with a big one. Who was Louis Armstrong? Well, he grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana, which is where I am right now. And so that's cool. And basically, I'm just talking about this because it's all nonfiction. It's all just a biography about the people. Or sometimes it's about a company, like Lego or something. So I'm just going to show you, do you even need to do this? Or could you just watch a documentary or something? So, that is what we're going to be talking about today. First off, we have Louis Armstrong, then we're doing Steven Spielberg, and that's going to be great. But Louis Armstrong, I only got cuz in New Orleans. Oh, they talk about his childhood, they talk about his adulthood, they talk about things he's done, and they talk about things maybe you haven't heard of that he's done. But they also talk about, an example is segregation, where a black person couldn't be where a white person was. Another thing is, which is very interesting, in a lot of these Who Was books, they do in Louis Armstrong's time, he had to deal with segregation, and then it'd have a whole page talking about segregation. And I do like that a lot about these books. So it's very helpful if you don't know what segregation is, or if you don't know what a trolley is. But it's very cool. And on the back they say, a poor boy from New Orleans who stopped school after 5th grade, a singer, songwriter, composer, cornet player, trumpet player, and actor who wrote books about his life, a jazz musician beloved around the world, or all of the above. And so it's just a nice book. And I feel like from 7, well, I don't know about 7. 7 to 9, I guess, is how old you should be. Because, 2 years ago when I was 8, I was reading them all the time. But they're very helpful, they're very educational, and they're just interesting to read. So that is Who Was Louis Armstrong. Steven Spielberg, Jaws, and, he made lots of short films when he was young, and that's interesting. He made Saving Private Ryan, and it's very cool. And another thing to note is they all have a funny illustration on the cover, which is cool. And then who was Jules Verne? He was a science fiction writer who wrote about oceans, which you can kind of tell from the cover, and that's nice. And then I got George Lucas mainly because I wanted George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. And then the final one, and I'd say the thickest and biggest one, was History of the World. And so it's basically all of the books they ever reviewed smashed into one big pile of books. And I read this, I kind of just skimmed through it. It would be interesting, but it's cause they took every book practically and smashed it into one, it's every one page is a new book. And it's by then you're Blackbeard was a pirate, and then you turn the page and it's Steven Spielberg was a movie maker. They could have made it doubly as thicker, because I don't mind if it's thicker, because it's nice if it's a nice long book, you read it for a while. But it's thicker, but it's less educational. They have 10 pages of stickers. Some people might care about the stickers, but I don't care about stickers. This is 10 pages of stickers, 10 pages of this. They could have had 10 more pages of something you did care about that wasn't stickers. I'd say the best part about this is they give you a timeline of history, and that's the only part that I care about. So I guess don't forget to like and subscribe, and Surdy's Law says goodbye.